Today we are make chicken patty. I'm going to show you how to easily get delicious flaky crust without beef suet. A lot of you guys have been having problems finding suet. I'm also going to show you how to make a great flavor packed curry chicken fillet. Let's get into it. The first thing we're going to start with is our dough. This is half of what makes or breaks a good patty, and we need to do a few things to ensure that we end up with a great crust. I'm using unsalted butter instead of the traditional beef suet. Butter has a really low melting point, so I'm freezing it along with all the other ingredients and equipment. The butter to flour ratio for the dough should be half butter to 1 pound flour. So I'm using half pound of butter, which is 227 grams. Nice, a gram won't hurt, but weighing this before freezing makes a lot more sense. Next, grab the grater which has been chilling in the freezer and grate the butter. Chilling everything the butter comes in contact with helps a lot. Your hand will also heat up the butter, so you have to work quick. Alright, half pound of grated butter done. Next I'm going to split in half. Eyeballing it is fine. It doesn't have to be exactly half, but wait if you're crappy at eyeballing. Get these in the freezer and grab the pound of flour and our mixing bowl. It just occurred to me that this could have really just been one bowl. Next, grab half of the frozen grated butter and add to the flour. The chilled flour will help to keep the butter solid for longer. Add a tablespoon of brown sugar, salt to taste, about a tablespoon and a half of egg powder. This is just powdered coloring. Many of you have a ton of concerns with this, but you can sub with curry or turmeric, but that will significantly change the flavor of the crust. You don't have to use anything either. It's your patty, make it how you want. And finally, we need icy cold water. First, toss all the ingredients. Then a few small splashes at a time, add the cold water and mix. I will do this until the dough comes together. Use as little water as possible and knead just until the flour is hydrated. The dough will be kinda sticky and tacky, and that's okay. Next, give this a nice tight wrap and get it into the fridge to drop the temperature. Around half an hour should be good. Alright, this has firmed up. I need a dusting of flour for my work surface. Be generous. Also going to dust the rolling pin. This is easier to roll out if you use the rolling pin to press it out like this before you roll. Dust if it starts sticking. I'm rolling the dough into a rough, long rectangular shape like this. Grab the next half of the butter from the freezer and spread about a quarter of it in the middle of the rectangle. Fold over the bottom third of the dough over the butter. Add another quarter of the butter on top of that. Fold over the top third. Butter goes back in the freezer. Next, we are going to roll the dough into a rectangle again. The dough is warming up, so I have to work really fast. My kitchen is pretty hot, so that does not help. Keeping this properly dusted does help though. Grab the butter from the freezer and we will repeat the same steps. Butter in the middle, fold, butter on top of that, another fold, dust to stop any sticking, roll into a rectangle again. I like to fold again because this increases the layers and adds to the flakiness of the patty. And that's it for the patty dough. If I wasn't actively trying to keep this cool, it would be a sticky mess. That's one of the downsides of using butter. Beef suet is more forgiving and I don't have to be as meticulous. Just going to wrap this and place it in the fridge to chill. While that's chilling, we can make that delicious chicken filling. Let's start with half a scotch bonnet pepper. These have a nice kick, so only half. Red onion. Doesn't have to be red, but it's the only ones I had. I'm just dicing these. Green bell pepper. Want half of this dice as well. Scallion, both whites and greens sliced. Fresh thyme. Dried thyme is a scam. A few cloves of garlic, roughly chopped. I also want some medium diced carrots in this, as well as some diced Irish potato. Dried pimento or allspice, this is about a tablespoon. I'm usually more conservative, but the overdid pimento flavor in the patty tastes really good. I'm just throwing everything in this bowl. Pimento just the same. Finally, I want a tablespoon of coriander powder to brighten this up. That's it for the veggies. Now for the chicken. I have 2 chicken thighs and a leg that I'm going to use. Dark meat is so much more delicious and much harder to overcook. You could get deboned chicken thighs, but this is what I had, so I'm deboning it myself. Those bones will be making stock. I just made an argument for dark meat, but chicken breast is still pretty good, and you can take steps to not overcook it. It's really not that big of a deal, and I wouldn't have to be deboning anything. Next, I'm going to season with salt and pepper. Give that a little mix and we can finally start making the delicious filling. Fry pan on medium heat, splash of oil, half a tablespoon curry powder, saute that, veggies in. Next I'm going to cook these until all the liquid evaporates, they start to caramelize and everything smells fragrant. Next add the chicken. Yeah, I overestimated how much chicken I would end up with. Saute and then add about a cup of coconut milk. Next, I'm letting that simmer until the chicken is cooked. The ratio of the veg to chicken is way off. That's why I had the asterisk at the beginning of this chapter. It's more accurate to call it curry veg with chicken. Give that a taste. Yeah, that's really delicious. Only needs a bit of salt. This has some really punchy, spicy flavors. That's good, but we need one more thing. I need a couple tablespoons of cornstarch and some water to make a slurry. In my previous patty video, I made a panade to help the texture of the patty filling. Cornstarch will be doing something similar in this filling. It will make the sauce a lot more viscous, which makes handling the filling a lot easier. I want this on the thinner side so it doesn't clump up as soon as I add it to the coconut curry. Nice, that's the consistency I want. This will get much thicker as it cools. That is it. Next, pour this into a bowl. Remove the thyme stems. Wrap. I'm making some vent holes so this cools quicker and set aside to cool completely. While that's chilling, let's roll out the dough. This is going to give me about 9 patties, but I won't be able to make them all at once without ruining the dough, so I'm going to split the dough in half. I will place half back into the fridge to stay chill while I roll out the other half. I'm shooting for a large rectangle and I will roll this as thin as it can go and still hold the filling properly. Grab the filling, it's chilled completely now. Use a measuring cup or something similar to get equal portions. Ensure you place the filling far from the edges. Fold over to seal and pat out the excess air. A ravioli cutter makes this next step really easy. Check out the links in the description. It cuts and seals the patties at the same time so I don't have to use a fork to seal after I cut. I'm trying to get more of a tapered rectangular shape so these look more like a traditional patty. I'm using a greased non-stick pizza pan. You might want to use grease paper if your pan isn't non-stick. That goes in the fridge. I'm gathering up all the trimmings to roll out again. That now go work. This have to go back into the fridge for chill. Grab the next half of the dough. This I will roll out just the same as before. Patties can be frozen for a few weeks, so these can be made in bulk and held till you're ready for them. You don't really need a ravioli cutter. Could use a pizza cutter for example to cut these out and use a fork to seal the edges. My pizza pans only hold about 4 each, so this is going back into the fridge. While these two go on the second pizza pan. Gather up all the trimmings and place them in the fridge to make the other patties. For now, I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. When it's ready, place the chilled patties in and bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. Longer if you're baking from frozen. It's ready when the crust is flaky and starting to turn golden brown. Hot and ready. This feels nice. The only thing missing is a brown paper bag. You're not eating patty properly if you're not risking second degree burns. That's delicious. The crust tastes rich and milky from the butter. Texture is great. It's really flaky and it has this melt in your mouth quality, probably from the butter. The filling is heavy on the vegetables, but I'm okay with that. It's absolutely delicious. Every bite of this is flavor packed and the textures are amazing. This was more of what I was going for. This chicken patty was one I made recently. It's the same recipe except with lots of chicken. And it's a lot like what you would get at a patty shop, even though this one is way more delicious than any patty shop. Despite all that, today's chicken patty was top notch. Don't know if I should call it chicken patty still. Well squad, this was great. Check the links in the description if you want to support the channel. Drop a like and subscribe and I'll catch you in the next one.